And that's it. I mean, that was as easy as it was. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do something that I've wanted to do for quite a while. Very easy and cheap, actually. It's to fix my recalled tailgate from falling down. So years ago, this is a 2017 RAM, again, years ago, had a problem where this thing would just fall down randomly at all times. And so what I did was just simply unplug the actuator in the tailgate that keeps it from locking and unlocking. And it has a keyhole on it, so you can still lock it even if you don't use that. But it still always bothered me that it didn't work like it was supposed to, and it was very annoying. So I found the part online, the recall instructions, which I'll leave the link down below. And it was super easy to fix. And so keep this thing from falling down at all kinds of red lights and stop signs and going down the road and being a safety hazard. Because you can imagine when this thing decides to fall, okay, so maybe it's not quite that dramatic, but when it falls pretty hard, and it can scare you to death and think somebody ran in the back of you. So I went ahead and tested this out. So I'll show you how it all works and how it goes together, and then we'll see if it actually did what it was supposed to do. So first things first, we got to get this cover off. It's came from the factory with this Line-X on it, but it's just, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 screws, bolts, whatever, and I've got a T30 star bit, Torx bit, however you pronounce it. And so we're going to take these screws off real quick, pop this cover off, show you what's underneath, and here's our little part. I'll give you the part number and everything for it. There it is on the bag, but I'll put a link down below again to the part number so you can find it. Just this little old teeny rubber, hard rubber piece, plastic stop block that's going to go in there and hopefully solve this problem for us. Here we are with the cover off. There's the cover sitting up there with the 8 bolts removed, and here is a close-up of the mechanism that controls this automatic tailgate lock. So I unplugged mine. You can see right here, here's the plug harness, and there is the harness there where it clips in from this side. I unplugged mine years ago after I got this truck. Again, this is a 2017 Ram, and I unplugged it because what happens is when you use the key fob to lock the doors and everything, it auto locks the tailgate as well, which is great. I think that's a great feature. I'm sure it's on pretty much every truck nowadays. But what was happening, and this is exactly how it was when I opened it just now. I haven't messed with anything or taken anything apart. But if you see this little rubber boot here and this empty plastic actuator right here, that's where this piece goes. So this little rubber stop block is what it's called, slides in here. And what it does is it stops this switch and this actuator from over, or it's supposed to anyway, I guess we'll find out, stops it from over traveling and bumping these arms and this lock mechanism too far. Because what was happening was it was bumping it just enough and over traveling that the linkages on the side, it was allowing them to come open and unlocking the tailgate after it had been locked going down the road. And so what would happen is you would be sitting at a red light or a stop sign and then take off, and the momentum and the force would cause the tailgate to fall and slam down, and it felt like someone slammed into you in the back when this thing fell and hit. And so this boot is supposed to clip, you can see the little edge right there, it's supposed to clip over this edge, and I'm gonna try to get it to go back, but I don't know, after all these years it might be too worn out, it might not go on there. But we've got to put that little stop block right in between this actuator and slide it right down in there, and supposedly that's all it is to fix this. So before I actually put this thing back together, well, and test it out, I wanted to show you, I've hooked up the wiring harness back to where it was supposed to go. So it's back to the way it was originally. And we're gonna lock it. And you can see that thing goes in and locks. And then we'll unlock it. And it pulls it back out. But you can kind of see when it goes in and out how it kind of moves, especially over here on this side. It kind of moves a little too far and there's a lot of play in it. And so, see how it moves right there at the end? And right there at the end. So hopefully this actuator block that goes in here, or stop block, excuse me, will be enough to stop this from traveling too far. I have read a few incidences online where it didn't really help some people, but hopefully it'll fix our issue and we'll be good to go again. Let's try it out. Here's our little piece in my hand, not much to it. One side's a little bit wider than the other. It's got a little flange on the edge of it so it'll catch when it goes in. So you're supposed to just be able to slide it right in, and that's it. I mean, that was as easy as it was. And then it kind of slides back and forth, but I think the boot helps it stay in place a little bit. But that's just the stop block that stays in there. So now let's try the key, see if we see much difference. So it's gonna stop it from going too far in on the lock. So it still acts like it works. Hopefully that's enough to fix it. But super easy install. Let me see if I can get that boot back on there and then we'll test it out again. We've got it put back together. The boot's on there for now. I don't know, I'm sure over the years it's just popped loose, but from the stress on it or whatnot, I didn't take it loose, but that's not a big deal. It wasn't dirty. There's not really any dirt in here. I shot a little bit of white lithium grease on some of these moving parts just to kind of keep it lubed up a little bit. Hopefully working good. So I'll put the cover back on. We'll give it a test. Honestly, I don't know right offhand, right off the bat, if it's gonna work, because what would happen is sometimes it would work for several weeks and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it would fall down, and it was just annoying, and it would scare you to death when it did it. So I'll put it back together and we'll just do a pull test on it and see if it looks like it's working, and then we'll go from there and see what happens. So there we are, it's all buttoned back up. Lock seems to be working, unlock seems to be working. If we lock it again and we pull on the handle, snatch on the bed or the tailgate, everything seems to be holding fine. But like I said, what would happen before is it would be fine for 3-4 days, a week or plus, and then all of a sudden that thing would travel a little bit too far and bump those actuators or the lock or whatever, the clasp on it, and then this thing would just fall down. And you can imagine when you're taking off from a red light or a stop sign or something and this thing just falls, it feels like someone slammed you in the back of the truck and it scared you to death. So obviously I'd want to try to get that fixed. It's not a warranty issue, it's a recall issue because it's a safety thing. Dodge or Ram put out a recall on it because if the bed tailgate fell down, then whatever was in the back of the bed could fall out too and fall in the road, and so they issued a recall on it. I just didn't want to spend the time having to schedule an appointment, go over there, leave it for the day and all that mess and have them do it. And the part was super cheap. I think the part was like $2 or $3. So it didn't take any time, as you saw, to actually put it together and fix it. And so we'll ride around for a little while and see if we run into an issue again, but hopefully that solved it for us. So that's it, guys. I've been driving around on it for probably a month or longer. I actually like to test out what I do to make sure it works before I put it on YouTube or share it with anybody. And so far, it has worked perfect. I haven't had any trouble with it. It hasn't fallen down one single time. So in my instance, it actually fixed it and seems like it's working perfect. So that's good. Again, I think the part was $2 or $3. I'll leave a link to it in the description for you, and a link to the recall instructions that show you how to take everything apart, put it back together and whatnot. But yeah, thankfully, super easy, cheap fix for me, and I'm glad that it's finally back to working like it was intended to, and it'll lock and unlock like I need it to. So if you found the video helpful or liked it, give it a thumbs up if you want to. Consider subscribing to the channel if you want to follow along with other stuff like this we do on our vehicles all the time. We also do other travel videos, hobby type videos and stuff like that. So you might find something interesting that you want to follow along with us and I appreciate the view and hope you have a good day. Thanks.